Hello, everybody. Welcome to cricketworld.com. We are back again with our daily match insights video. And as always, I've got my friend and colleague Nikhil Narayan to analyze the great escape at Old Trafford in Manchester. And I must say, uh, Nikhil Narayan is also a soothsayer. So if you have any questions regarding your future, you can probably direct them to Nikhil because he had predicted this miracle. Nikhil, feeling happy that your prediction came true?
A brilliant effort by the Indian batters. Yes, on day five at Old Trafford, Chandresh. When no one expected them uh, to save this Test match, they defied all odds. And yes, the pitch did play its part. But to bat out 130 plus overs on day five on any pitch in the world is not an easy task. Just losing 4 wickets, 425 runs, frustrating the England bowlers. Great effort, and I'm glad my sort of prophecy came true.
Absolutely. Let's start off at the start of the day. We had England's last throw of the dice, so to speak, at the start of the day when the skipper came on to bowl finally. But he looked in a lot of pain as he came on to bowl on the final day, and he put in that effort and dismissed KL Rahul with a fantastic delivery, which left no one in doubt about the trajectory of the ball. It was a line-hearted effort once again by Ben Stokes.
Absolutely. Ben Stokes was absolutely sensational in this test match as he's been in the series. He gave it all. The wicket wasn't offering much, but he bent his back. He was by far the best bowler, on both sides. He made a little use of the inconsistent bounce on the wicket. That was the only thing which was troubling the Indian batters initially. That ball to KL Rahul you mentioned came back sharply. Rahul was playing back to defend, which was working for him, but the ball stayed a little low, and he was plumb leg before wicket. Stokes didn't even bother to appeal. So that was the end of Rahul within the first half an hour. And that point, Chandresh, it looked that India is really on the back foot.
Absolutely. And then the skipper carried on, Shubman Gill, and he scored his fourth 100 of the series. He's now scored 700 plus runs. He only has Gavaskar in his sides in terms of an Indian player. I think the dream to cross Sir Don Bradman, will remain a dream for everyone because he had his opportunities, but he missed his opportunities in the series. But nevertheless, 400s in the series, fantastic effort by the skipper, and this knock will probably define him as a cricketer.
Absolutely, Chandresh. 722 runs in the series, the third most for an Indian after Sunil Gavaskar, who's at number one and two with what he did against the West Indies in 70-71 and in 1978-79. Remember, there is one more test left in the series at the Oval. So Shubman Gill may way cross Sunil Gavaskar. Highest aggregate for an Indian in Sena, already breaking Kohli's record 692 in Australia. He did in 2014-15. As you mentioned, 400s in the series, joint most by an Indian in Test series. Again, Gavaskar had four in those two Caribbean against the West Indies, and Kohli had four against Australia again in 2014-15. But all these records, Shubman Gill can better them because the Oval Test still remains. Absolutely brilliant batting by Shubman Gill. He applied himself brilliantly. The way he came out to bat very positively in this innings, because he knew runs were as important as batting out time and overs. And then he sort of put his head down and then went into a defensive mode. But very, very clever, classic batting by Shubman Gill, defying the English bowlers. He got out at the wrong time, just at the stroke of lunch. To a brilliant, not to a brilliant delivery by Archer, to a delivery which bounced a little too much. But nonetheless, 722 runs, a great effort so far by Shubman Gill, the captain.
And he weathered a storm, so to speak. He got hit quite a few times, but he still carried on. And just like you said, just at the stroke of lunch, Shubman Gill felt there is something about these intervals that keep bringing down Indian batters right through this series. We've seen right through that just before lunch or tea, India has lost their key batters. But in walked Ravindra Jadeja, and the very first delivery had an opportunity grasped by Joe Root, no less, who's got the record for the most test catches. And that was like a turning point, because from there on, Jadeja put on a sterling display with the bat in the company of Washington Sundar, as they just kept batting on and on and on. And the English captain and his bowlers just didn't have any opportunity.
Absolutely. That drop chance by Joe Root, England played heavily for it, Chandresh. Sundar and Jadeja did not give any more chances to England. Absolutely brilliant partnership. They defied all odds, batted for 2.5 sessions, batted for 2 sessions without losing any more wickets. India. Jadeja has been phenomenal in this series. 454 runs with 100, 450 is very consistent with the bat. Maybe not so much with the ball. He just picked 7 wickets, but he's still been restrictive, keeping it to below 3.5 and over. But absolutely brilliant with the bat. And as far as Washington Sundar is concerned, we all know how talented he is with the bat. He did it for India at the Gabba, if you remember, in the first innings. That great partnership with Shardul Thakur when India were 160 for 5. He rescued them. And in the second innings, also the crucial 20 with Rishabh Pant taking India to one of the greatest victories, in the fourth innings. So India played out 143 overs in the third innings, Chandresh here, which is the fifth highest of all time in a Sena country for them. The stand 200 unbeaten of 334 deliveries. In terms of ball face, 332, the most balls consumed by an Indian pair in Sena for fifth wicket or below in the second inning. So, they broke all records, they defied all odds, they defied all probability, and they drew a big save for India, which almost looks like a win for India. The England bowlers were rattled and frustrated by the end of it.
Yeah, just wondering. The English captain Ben Stokes tried everything possible. Liam Dawson bowled 47 overs. Their strike bowler Jofra Archer gave it his all. The England skipper bowled 11 overs despite being in pain. Chris Wokes was knackered at the end. Bryden Cars looked completely tired. What else could they have tried? Because the bowling seemed to lack sting. Uh, I know the pitch may not have been the most conducive, but that's the nature of Test cricket. You need to be prepared to take the rough with the smooth.
I think they tried everything. They had attacking fields. They changed ends for their bowlers. The fast bowlers bowled from the end where there was inconsistent bounce. They tried everything. There was nothing more left in their arsenal. Uh, the Indian batters were too good, and the pitch also played its part. But credit most to the Indian batters, Rahul Gill, Jadeja, and Washington Sundar. They were just too good on the day. Temperamentally, they were very, very strong. They were determined to go 1-2 and keep the series alive for the Oval. What England could have done, I thought, was maybe declare not at 650 and declare at 580. This was also mentioned by a few pundits. Maybe leave a little more overs and chase down the target instead of only batting once. But in hindsight, their thought process was that they'll bat out once, put pressure. So one cannot really blame the England captain for scoring 650 before declaring. Yeah.
Yeah, it brings to question whether, like you said, they should have declared a lot earlier. But if a team has batted out nearly 5.5 sessions, what is to say that they can't bat out 6 sessions or more to save a test match? That's what India did in the Old Trafford test match. Towards the end, there was a bit of a drama as Ben Stokes put up his hand just when the final hour got underway. Just to let everybody know, when the final hour is about to get underway, that's the start of the mandatory overs, the last 15 overs of the test match. And there's an option for either side or both sides to come together and say, that's it, because there's no result possible. We can put our hand up and say, well played to each other, and move on and declare a draw in the test match. But the Indian pair carried on, and that caused a bit of recrimination from the English side, because you had Ben Stokes, Ben Duckett, uh, Harry Brook, Zach Crawley, everybody going after Ravindra Jadeja, and the English skipper mocking uh, Ravindra Jadeja, asking if you want to score hundreds against Harry Brook and Ben Duckett. What did you make of all that was happening?
Very interesting, Chandresh. So I have two views here. India were well within their right to stay on, for to let Washington Sundar and Ravindra Jadeja complete their centuries. There's nothing against the spirit of the game there. Also, when they worked hard, to salvage that draw, worked so hard, a little bit of personal glory, won't do anyone any harm. So I know this game is it's a team sport, but personal glory only motivates you further. So I thought Ben Stokes was a little out of place. None of them congratulated the Indian batters when they got their 100. Some of the remarks there. See, England might play the game differently with baseball, and even before they might have declared in a similar situation, but doesn't mean every country has to follow what they do. I thought India were well within their right not only to wait till both the batters get their centuries. India could have well batted out the entire last hour, played in the last ball. Strategically, it would have been a great move. As some of the pundits were also suggesting, they could have tired the English bowlers out. They could have frustrated them more. All these things count. But then, Shubman Gill called them back after they completed their century. I thought India were well within the right. England may not play the game this way, and that's their call. But nothing wrong in what the Indian batters did.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite staggering to think that this was only the second draw in the baseball era at home for England, and should that be considered a win that the English skipper wanted to call off the game at that particular stage? Would India look at it as a moral victory in that sense? Because England have the stated philosophy that we are going to go for a win no matter what. The fact that the English skipper wanted to call off the game, would India look at it as a moral victory?
100% Chandresh. It was a moral victory for India to save that test match from where they were after losing, Sai Sudarshan, Yashasvi Jaiswal in the very first over from Chris Woke, 0 for 2, to only lose 4 wickets, play out, 130 odd overs and draw that test match. It is a big moral victory for India. When Ben Stokes, the baseball Ben Stokes, is calling off a test match at home because his bowlers can't get to the wickets, it is a big statement. I think India have achieved what they wanted to in this test match. They will go full of confidence come the Oval Test in the next 3 days.
Absolutely. It's been an enthralling series. We are done with 4 test matches. The scoreline is 2-1 in favor of England. And India would be thinking that with a bit of luck, they could well have been 3-0 up in the series and the series could have been theirs. But that's history. Now they need to focus on the fifth and final test match starting on July 31st at the Oval in London. It's going to be an enticing, engrossing test match at the Oval, and India has an interesting record at the Oval. It's going to be interesting to see how India fares in that test match. Nikhil, plenty to look forward to the fifth and final test match, I'm sure.
Plenty to look forward to, Chandresh. India, if you see the numbers, has been the better team. The top four run getters in the series are Indians. Three of the top four wicket takers are Indians, all except Ben Stokes. Still, the series is 1-2. India is trailing 1-2. I expect bounce carry at the Oval is one of the best wickets in England. I expect both India and England to make at least 2 to 3 changes each. So it's going to be very, very interesting come the Oval.
Let's see what happens in that test match. We'll be back to preview that test match, and also we'll be reviewing every day's play in that Oval test match. That's it for now from Nikhil and myself. We'll be back before the fifth and final test match. Till then, remember what you need to do. Log on to cricketworld.com, like, share, subscribe, and comment on the videos to be part of the conversation that Nikhil and I are having right through this India tour of England. What you need to do is keep logging on and be part of this chat. That's it for now. Take good care of yourselves. It's goodbye and God bless from Nikhil and myself.